This gives you, we're very proud of these numbers, gives you some sense of where we stack up in terms of core measures, the grand composite scores. If you'll, for those that may not be able to see the numbers, in the state of Florida, we, compared to the major systems here in the state, this is on the blue data is the non-reported data. Yes, internal data showing where we stack up against the rest of the organizations. And then the red data is the public data that's available on your CMS websites.
Medicare.gov is, I'm sure you all have gone out and looked and checked your hospital. So if you go and do the composite scores on the Medicare.gov website, you'll be able to pull these up and average them. HCA, in case you're having a hard time seeing it on the publicly available data, is the second red bar from the right. So, and you can see how we can then compare to the other major systems in the state of Florida on core measures.
Likewise, for the company, again, major progress has been made on core measures, and this is, I think, on the latest public data on CMS.gov webpage, and you can see compared to the major systems, we've made major strides. I will tell you, it's not always, as maybe with your organization, we have not always been at the top, but what I'm trying to suggest here is that through structure, by using what's working in other facilities, what's working with the medical staffs and the quality teams across the enterprise, being able to duplicate those strategies and then move them across the structure has been hugely successful for the company. This is just an example of, when we take on a big agenda, as you have on hand washing and hand hygiene, shows you how we're able to move this agenda across a structure in terms of communications, in terms of consistency in our facilities, in terms of the use of hand washing tools, in terms of the methodologies that we use with our employees in terms of communicating to our publics, the public that are using our facilities, about the importance of hand washing and hand hygiene to infection rates. But just an example, and shows you the results that we have in terms of the use of hand hygiene products. And as a part of that, we have gone out in various communities and communicated publicly to our audiences about hand washing and the importance of hand washing, taking spokespersons into the school systems, folks that kids recognize, and having them speak to that audience in terms of the importance of hand hygiene in terms of mitigating infection.
This MRSA program we also made available on the HCA website. So we're very transparent about when we are this proud of a project that we've launched, we put it out there for anyone else to use and anyone else to see. A current example, we launched MRSA last year. We're currently working on what we call our Aim for Zero program for central line bloodstream infections. And you see HCA doing projects like this where you put toolkits together and you put dedicated resources that then go into the facilities to really try to help a facility work with their medical staff to address an issue. And we're working with, it's called Aim for Zero, and that's for central line infections. We've also got one for sepsis where we're implementing the Surviving Sepsis campaign that was launched by the Institute for Healthcare Improvement. So a lot of work in the quality arena. It consumes the great majority of our time.
This is just another indication as where we've, as with many large organizations, we're self-insured. It gives you some sense of where we've laid structure around some key exposure areas for a hospital. Healthcare Indemnity is our holding company for commercial insurance. And through putting some standard processes in our operations, it allowed us to make major changes in terms of our risk and risk exposure in the industry. It gives you some comps to the right there in terms of the frequency of malpractice claims. You see a huge reduction in obstetrical claims over the years, and because of our emphasis around fetal heart and fetal heart monitoring, and some of the requirements we put into our organizations around fetal monitoring, as well as we're pretty equal with the industry in terms of reduced claims in surgery, but overall you see a significant reduction and the claims that HCA's had in terms of malpractice. And again, that has a lot to do with the structure and processes that we're putting into the organization under the leadership of HCI, our risk company. Requiring annual certification training, participating with our physicians in terms of certain training programs, requiring other training of other caregivers in our facilities.
One of the things that's really neat about the way HCI does their program too is they have a premium credit program. So hospitals can actually earn big credits into their annual budgets by complying with the risk program. So there's a financial incentive for our facilities to participate and comply with the metrics. And so it's good for patients and it's good for your operating budgets at the hospitals as well.
Right. So we attempt to get the management teams involved in terms of the process itself. And a part of that process is it affects the budgeting cycle. That is an ability if there's very clear elements of the campaign that we lay out during each budget year in terms of clinically things we're going to try to accomplish specific to one of these areas that HCI is providing oversight to. And if our facilities are successful in getting these aspects of these clinical protocols put into place or oversight into place, then they are able to reduce their malpractice insurance. Clinical information, like you, EHR receives a lot of attention on the part of the teams, not just in Nashville, but the teams throughout the enterprise. As I mentioned earlier, like you, we're taking on CPOE. We have rolled out CPOE in our emergency rooms. It's been a big win for us here in Florida. What percentage of the hospitals have CPOE now?
And we have 50 hospitals in the Eastern Group, but that includes Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. 48 of the 50 are live with CPOE in the emergency departments, and we're over 90%, 95% on the percent of orders that are entered electronically in our emergency rooms. And I got to tell you, it's been a home run. It's been so very good for efficiency and good for patients. So we're very excited about that work. We're rolling out inpatient CPOE now. We're a Meditech shop, so we're on Meditech 5.6. We have one hospital live in Florida now with inpatient CPOE. We're just short of 60% of our orders being entered electronically at that hospital. It's gone very well. They've been live for about a month. And then as we head into 2011, the rest of the hospitals in Florida will be going live on inpatient CPOE with Meditech. So
the first wave will be another 20?
Another 20, and that's kicked off now, and they'll be live in April of next year. So big investment. You know, this is, as you can see from the funding here, it's over $1 billion for HCA in terms of investment into our EHR strategy, but we're seeing it come to fruition, and we're excited about it. We have no doubt at this point that all of our facilities will meet the meaningful use criteria. We're well on track with our project.
And meaningful use for HCA is?
It's right at $900 million in high-tech stimulus funds. So, you know, obviously the government has given us an avenue to attract stimulus funds by hitting the meaningful use criteria, and we intend to achieve those dollars.
So a lot of structure around the IT and the use of information. One of the areas that I think has lots of future for HCA is our clinical data warehouse. Is something we're beginning to look at and put structure around. Obviously, we have the benefit of providing a lot of care in any geography. As an example, something that Mike and I are particularly interested in is better understanding and putting structure around our EKGs. On a given year, we in Florida do about 1 million EKGs. How do you put data such as that in a central repository for the better access by our physicians, better use clinically across enterprise in terms of when you end up in a hospital across the state by chance or what have you, in terms of how do you access that EKG, as well as what other information clinically is available within that EKG data set. But the good news is, with a large infrastructure like this, we can now begin to use our clinical data in other forms that we have not used it historically, and potentially as a resource for research, other venues such as that, but primarily as a way to have easier access to clinical information across a broad geography.
We made a significant investment in clinical IT as well. A great example for patient safety is our EMR system, our electronic medication administration system. So every patient, when they get a med in our facilities, we scan the patient's barcode, we scan the med, and it makes sure we're giving the right drug to the right patient before we administer it. That's system-wide. That's been live now for almost 5 years in HCA. We're taking that same concept and applying it really to multiple other areas. We're now rolling out the barcode transfusion administration for every time we give blood. Lab acquisition is next, so you can see all of this investment in patient safety will continue to roll across. In the physician side, we're a PK shop with PK Portal and Mobility.
Patient Keeper.
Patient Keeper. And we really like that system. We're also rolling out currently the Horizon Patient Folder for electronic signatures so that physicians can e-sign all of their medical records and never have to kind of go back to the dungeon and pull all the paper out and sign the paper. That project is well underway and will be finished system-wide by the end of 2020.
In rad packs, I think that one of the big successes, like I'm sure you, the deployment of packs and systems and the implementation of voice recognition across the enterprise. We're fully deployed on packs. We're fully deployed on voice recognition. And you know, one of the things that I'm personally amazed by, which in my career, and obviously I've been around because of my gray hair, but is the high level of self-edits that we get with our radiology community on our voice recognition. The number, this is an approximate number, don't hold me to this, is probably somewhere about 97%. So somewhere in the high 90s of all the dictation that being done across our the Eastern Group's radiology departments is being self-edited by the radiologists. Meaning, okay, so what does that mean? What does that mean operationally? First, most importantly, it means more timely availability of the dictation to the referring physician and being able to more timely administer care. From an efficiency perspective, it allows that now dictated record to more quickly become a part of the chart. Thirdly, it also takes out a lot of costs in terms of your operating structure. For us in the group, it's probably $7 million. So, you know, in terms of putting that structure around something as simple as voice recognition technology and deploying that technology, it saves us about $7 million across the Eastern Group.